You're listening to Sell the Damn Service, the podcast for service providers who want to scale sustainably, book out with high value clients, and make serious money without jumping on the 6 figures in 7 minutes hype train. Most of the advice out there is built for one-to-many offers, low-price digital products, and hustle-heavy marketing. But if you want to stay in the service industry and still grow big, the truth is you're not being spoken to until now. I'm Emily Williams, an award-winning business owner who sold millions in the online space through both services and digital products. And after all of that, here's what I know for sure. Services are still the fastest, most sustainable path to consistent revenue. So if you're ready for yapping, hot takes, and straight up conversations about what it really takes to sell and scale your services, you're in the right place. How has the reception, has anyone responded yet?
Not yet. I thought about asking 2 of my business besties to literally drop everything and just come record this with me because they're Swifties and I'm not.
Oh, so you could ask me.
Well, now I know that.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask Maddie, who I did the branding workshop for, or I was going to ask Sabrina. But the thing is, both of them are already scheduled to be on my podcast. Like we're recording soon.
Sure.
And plus, they tend to have today I'm off because it's my self-care day.
Yeah.
But normally I just don't have like wide open shit on my calendar.
Sure.
So I was pretty sure they were both busy. So I just recorded it. And then I texted Maddie and just sent her the thing where it says, using the Taylor plus Travis engagement test for your client experience, I think is what I named it. And she was like, oh my God. So I don't know if she's listened to it yet. Cause I mean, literally it's been up for like an hour.
Okay. Well, you'll have to send me the link after this and I'll go share it on stories because I love that. I love that you did that and I can't wait to hear. And I think it's such an interesting angle to take a pop culture moment. It's an angle that I haven't seen. Like, I feel like a lot of it's like the kind of kitschy play of a lot of businesses in Kansas City, because I'm here in Kansas City. So I'm seeing a lot of it very local, are doing very, very kitschy kind of cheesy thing, which is just cute. An ice cream shop does something.
Yeah. Another Airtable person that I know, she posted a picture of a bus from behind where I guess one of your city buses has like, I don't know, like the things hanging from the bottom, and it says just got engaged. Streamers, yes. And then just got engaged on the back of the bus. So
that is so funny. It is next level being here. I heard the news yesterday while I was in the middle of a podcast interview because my husband comes in to tell me and my dad texted me at the same time. And then I didn't get to talk to my dad until today. I just got off the phone with him before we recorded and he was like, I went out to drinks with the guys last night to celebrate Taylor.
Oh my God. And see, my husband came home and I said, well, did you hear the news? And he was like, what news? He's like, I haven't been on my phone all day. And I said, oh, that Travis and Taylor Swift are now engaged. And he's like, yeah. Oh, I think there was an ESPN alert about that shit or something. I mean,
My daughter came home annoyed that she was going to change her last name. And I said, oh, no, she's not going to.
She's not going to change her last name.
That's not happening at all.
No, you don't have to worry about that.
You'll be fine. I love that. Well, okay. Systems girly pop. Let's talk about, you and I have had a lot of conversations about various price points of offers, where that comes into business, moving platforms and softwares and systems and where that comes into business. And I think you and I we're having a lot of simultaneous conversations behind the scenes right now about different pricing models, different marketing models, and ultimately different softwares. And so as someone who is so in the weeds with simplifying systems for your clients, how does that in turn impact the type of business that you're running and the choices that you're making when it comes to your offer suite and the systems that you're using?
It's so interesting that you would ask me from that angle because I don't really dictate what I do in my business based on others, but I definitely have other people who do in their business what I tell them to.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so like, you and I are currently having the Flowdesk conversation. So let's just bring that up. The funny thing is, I was with Kit and I was super not impressed with like a lot of the ways that it works. But when I needed to leave Flowdesk because I was starting to sell courses and digital products, and I needed to be able to manage the segmentation and all of the things that come with having funnels for non-service work, I was like, Flowdesk is not going to do it. Like, if I send somebody an email and I'm like, click here, it doesn't tag them. Like, they have to fill out another form. And anytime you're asking somebody to do something that isn't
Mhm.
needed, like, you run the risk of them not doing it. So I moved to Kit because lots of people that I knew had it, which I guess is that the angle. I knew a lot of people who had Kit. And when I tested it, I was like, okay, this will work for now. I didn't want active campaign. Like, that didn't interest me.
It's
Um,
unnecessary for
it's
the needs of
unnecessary.
most. Yeah.
Yes. And so I ended up going with Kit, but I've never been happy with like how the emails look and
Mhm.
like the analytics. Even though it gave me more analytics than Flowdesk, I was still like, these analytics suck. Like,
They're
I don't
not
know
great.
why anybody is happy with these.
No.
And so, it kind of weighed on me. And this entire year, since Flowdesk finally got segmentation clicks, like where somebody can click on a link and it would add them to a different segment. Once they got that, I was like, okay, I think I'm almost ready to come back. And then they brought up analytics, and this was last year. And so this whole year, like in 2025, there have been two different times where I was like, okay, do I switch to Flowdesk? Do I
So I
switch
come back.
today? Right. And then right before, like, honestly, I was in Flowdesk. I was telling my virtual assistant to move some things over. And then Encharge, which is a different email provider, went back on AppSumo for a lifetime deal. And
Yeah.
I've heard people say that it was good. And
Okay.
then
See, I had never
Damaju,
heard of it.
it's something that was on AppSumo and it's very
Yeah.
Kit-like. It kind of has some of the features of Active Campaign. But I know someone personally that had bought it the first time it was on AppSumo and she loved it. And I was jealous because, like, oh my God, you paid a one-time fee and now you never have
Yeah.
to pay for it again.
I
And
love a
so
lifetime deal.
exactly. And so when it went back on AppSumo, I didn't even think twice. I did like 5 minutes worth of research and just bought it because you get 60 days. If it doesn't
Yeah.
work, you can just return it. And so, me being me, bought it. And then I think 72 hours later, I would say 80% of my stuff was transitioned over. And then my virtual assistant was still working on some things. But I mean, I like to know all of the things that are out there so that I can communicate it to my audience. But I'm also someone who just doesn't shy away from changing things. And I know a lot of people are like, oh no, but I've had this for a while. It seems so daunting to change. No, I can change anything in 72 hours.
Agreed.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, kind of same. I made the decision to test out Showit earlier this year. So I have been a Squarespace girly since like Squarespace was invented, I feel like. And I had my very first website on there. I've never moved. I was never a WordPress girly. It's truly been Squarespace. I have not tried anything else other than Squarespace. And then Showit came out years ago, and I didn't even like give it another care. Like I was like, I literally don't care to try something else. But then that perfect pixel placement just gets me every time. And Squarespace had done a bunch of rollouts where it's like drag and drop. You can move everything around. You can't. You cannot move everything around where you want it. It locks into a grid and you can't change it. And you can't overlap things very easily. You do have to know a certain level of code in order to get a look that you want. And I'm not. I can search a code, I can make a code, it's fine. I don't want to have to. I'm not a website designer, whatever. And so after years of being on Squarespace, I was like, what about it? And so I should have known because had some conversations with some clients of mine who are Showit like experts and they design and Showit for their clients. And they were starting to leave Showit. And I asked a client of mine, like, okay, but why? And she talked about the accessibility of Showit and how it's non existent and they have no plans whatsoever to improve that or make it better. This is hearsay. This has not been validated. It's a rumor. Okay. So I was like, okay, but I can make it mobile friendly, but I can add alt text, so I didn't really quite understand what I was actually missing. So I made my site. It took me, a weekend, maybe a week because I was very new to the platform, but I'm fast to software learning. Was irritated about the whole mobile design thing where you basically have to do your job twice, and got the site up, and it was fine. Like, it was cute. It was fine. And then I realized when I was having a conversation with one of my biz friends about this show and about how I kept putting off launching this show, because I wanted to launch this show back in March. I started teasing like graphics and thumbnails for this show. I'd already picked out the name. I had started designing graphics, started mapping out episodes in March. Hadn't done it. We meet in like the first week of August, and I was supposed to launch it in August. And she was like, "Hey, what's the deal with the show? What you doing?" And I was like, "I don't know. It kind of feels overwhelming. I have a lot going on. I'll do it in September." And she was like, "All right. How are you going to do it in September when you haven't done it up until now?" And I was like, "That's rude, first of all." But thank you. I kind of feel like you, where you keep telling me you get a taste of your own medicine when you're working with me. And I was
That
like,
part.
rude, call me out much. And so she forced me to be honest about the issue. And the issue was the fucking blog post on Showit. I
Hmm.
couldn't upgrade my Showit account on my own. I had to reach out to support to do it. And you answered the question of why that was the case. It's a server issue. Fucking figure it out. That's a shitty user experience, in my opinion. I don't know what show it's got going on in private server land over there, but clearly other platforms have it figured out.
No,
What?
I'll tell you what it is. It's
Tell
a
me.
money grab, and it really pisses me off every time I think about it. The problem is, like WordPress hosting, right? There are companies that do that for you. So they're not doing it, they're getting it from a different company. And you are literally on different servers, different plans, because in order for you to have that middle tier, you can only have one user. You can't add any plugins. And so they have this very special version to prevent you from getting the things that everybody on WordPress gets for free. And so when you upgrade to the advanced tier and you
Mhm.
can have multiple users, you can add all the plugins that you want. You are on what I would call like a normal WordPress
Yeah.
server, which is why when you are on the middle, you cannot import a blog in, you
Right.
cannot add additional users. It is like a really dumbed down, very like locked up
Yeah.
WordPress server to prevent you from doing the things that anybody else on a regular WordPress site can do.
Can do.
And so that is why you have to tell them, because then they take all of your, stuff. They use a
Uh-huh.
plugin, which I mean, they might have their own, but also you can get one for free to
Right.
move your blog to the other one. And then you're on one where it's not locked down.
You see? That validates my whole annoyance of the issue. I hate that. I think that's shitty. All of that's shitty. And so quite literally the fact that I was going to have to reach out to customer service to upgrade my account was my final straw. So I canceled my account that same week, went back to Squarespace, transferred my domain. Again, it's always this project that you think is going to be like, okay, maybe this will take me like a week, right? I always give myself a week because you never know what's going to come up. And it's like 6 hours later, it's done. I
Yeah.
have my whole Squarespace website built out. I've got everything moved over. I have my blog post figured out for the podcast, show notes outlined, figured out, the whole workflow behind the scenes figured out. And I was like, oh, this is when one of those things, kind of going back to systems, of being like, I thought I wanted to try something new, which was fair and fine. I had to learn it, right? But it was in the limitations of that platform that was literally prohibiting me from doing things in my business.
Yes.
And that's when you need to like self-reflect.
Yeah. That's when you need to let that shit go and
Yeah.
just make a different choice, make a better choice.
Yep. So are you coming back to Flowdesk?
I'm about 70% sure right now. I'm going to start paying for it again. My virtual assistant and I, Sarah, were talking today, and there's something that I've done for like the last year. I have a very long and detailed evergreen sequence. And these are emails that I just send to my list at every week. It was on Sundays, and they do share past resources. And then there's also like selling involved. Like when I was still doing all of the low ticket offers, there were links to these. But now that I switched email platforms and now that I'm contemplating doing it again twice in less than 90 days, I was like, wait, Sarah, before we start like updating these emails in Encharge, maybe you should just move them to Flowdesk. And she's like, okay, but like, how sure are you that you're moving? I'm like, I'm pretty sure that I'm moving. I just don't know that I have like the need to do it immediately because like right now I'm not paying for Encharge.
Right.
And so there's no motivation to hurry up and get it done so that I don't have to pay them for another month like it was when I was leaving Kit. Um, but I mean, I would imagine that the next time that you and I have a call, that,
So
in
so
some
so
fashion, things,
tomorrow, that's our
no, not tomorrow, but maybe next week.
oh my god, your VA's like, "Whatever you want,
Well,
girl."
and she was laughing at me on Threads, and I was like, "Why the fuck are you laughing at me? Aren't you excited about moving my shit twice in 90 days?" And then today when we're texting, she's like, "Oh, I knew that was coming." She's like, "So do you want me to edit these emails and put them in Flowdesk at the same time?" Like, that was the conversation that we were having earlier today.
Maybe.
Maybe. That was my response.
Well, so let's talk about the products and the long evergreen list. You are someone who started out as a done for you service based business owner, or were doing that for a long time. And I mean, we could go over your whole history of everything that you've done, but from implementation, VIP days, like done for you service work, Dubsado setup, etc. To I think you saw the classic, hey, what if you had this other kind of resource available? Kind of walk me through that time in business of what made you roll out templates and lower priced products as a service provider.
So the funny thing is, the first one that I rolled out wasn't really intended to be like a template from one of my bigger products. I was doing it as a self-liquidating offer. I kind of got on that bandwagon like
Yep.
not too far into the pandemic. I was like, "Oh, well if I make this, this offer and then I sell it and I run it to ads, I can grow my list and like bring in the right fit clients." And if you're not watching the video, I am totally doing air quotes
Those
at
are
this point.
harsh quotes.
Those are harsh quotes. And so I was all in, and I still love the concept. I still love like the content of this freebie, but I went all in. I hired a copywriter to do 2 back-to-back VIP days to write me the sales page because I was doing so much done for you work. Like I had money, but I didn't have time. And I'm
Yep.
honestly like, I hate writing content. It literally drives me insane, even though that was the first time I'd ever hired a copywriter.
Mm,
So hired her. She did the sales page awesome. She wrote the onboarding email sequence. I think she wrote me 2 versions of the ads, like the whole 9 yards.
yeah.
So $5,000 in, Emily. And when I put it on for sale, I ended up selling less than $500 of it. Now, I honestly at this point can't remember why I never fully fleshed it out into the ads. Like there was something about it that just didn't feel right. And I won't say that I wasted $5,000 because I'm not wasting $5,000. So I took a lot of the copy that she wrote and like repurposed it for other places. And that low ticket offer still exists today at a totally increased price point. There's a freebie version and then you upgrade to a toolkit if you want it. But like that was how I got into I need a low offer because when you are someone like me, and I feel like at that point when I tried this, my done for you was probably 2,500 and the course was like 700. So not super expensive, but also not cheap. And then I think right after that was when I doubled the done for you to 5,000 and the course ended up being all the way up to $1,000 before I did some before I tinkered with it. But so, very high price point. So I don't have anything for someone to come into my audience lower ticket. And I was like, okay, freebies maybe aren't doing their job. Again, I also bought into the, well, if you want people with buying power, you have to get them to buy something. And so it wasn't until the summer of like 2023 when I was like, okay, the course has full support, but it doesn't need it anymore. And I just kept getting people that were telling me, oh, but I don't need your whole course. I just need this. So I was like, you know what? Let's pull things out of the course and sell them as lower ticket offers and let's see what it looks like to do that. And so I did. And, lots of things happened after that. But that's how I really moved from like being a high ticket done for you 5K price tag into selling lower ticket offers, which honestly, I feel like we should establish what that means for me because it doesn't mean $27 products.
Right.
They
What
were
so what
priced between 97 and like 397 at that time.
right, right. Interesting because it's not a $7 digital download, and the quantity still needed to match and meet revenue goals, even when it's something at 397, is significantly higher. I remember we first worked together, we did an audit, early 2025, and one of my favorite things to do is to do the math for people, and at the end of the day, everyone gets to decide. I say that nearly every episode I've recorded so far is like, I'm not like shitting on a strategy or a fact. Like some things are just facts and math is just a fact. And you get to decide where your energy is going to be spent and what excites you. There are some people in this industry who love the game of how many leads can I get and how do I perfect ads and how do I market to the masses and go viral or whatever version of that works and looks like for them. And then there are some people who don't. And that's okay. Neither are wrong. It's just interesting of knowing you now, of knowing how you like to work and the simplicity. I would have never ever ever pegged you as someone who enjoyed that marketing mass game.
True. But let's also be let's also be honest for your listening audience. When Emily gave me my growth audit and she said the things, I was basically in my mind like, no, fuck you. I've spent way
Yep.
too much time doing this
Yep.
stuff. And I mean, I might have even, I don't think I said it that rude to you. I said it that rude to you later. But in my mind, I was like, she's crazy. She doesn't understand how much time and effort I've put into this. And then literally over the next 30 days, I was like, oh my God, like, what if she's right? Oh my God, like life was much simpler back then. Like, and it's, it is a mental game, but it's really hard. And I feel like if you haven't ever really been successful and made like a shit ton of money doing services, you might not be in the same boat. But at the
Agreed.
end of the day, if I can easily get somebody to pay me $5,000 for a service, and then I do 5 times the work to make half the money, that's a disconnect. Like,
Yes.
that's a problem. That
Yes.
feels like it's going backwards. That
Yes.
feels like I am in a place that I shouldn't be because I'm used to, having my revenue come in. Now, granted, you still have to find people to pay you $5,000. You still
Right.
have to
They're not
have the
just
leads.
coming.
I mean, they're not just coming to me, but once they come into my orbit, I mean, I'm one of those people also, like when you sell multiple things, people always ask you, okay, but like, what do you really want them to buy? And
Mhm.
my response is always the same. I
Yep.
don't give a shit what someone buys from my business because if they buy the wrong thing, they will eventually upgrade. They will eventually switch. So I've always been like, no, buy the course, try it out. If
Try
that's
it.
not for you, holler. We'll upgrade you into a done for you container. And I had like a steady percentage of like 10% of people were doing that. And so that felt really good. But so, you try this low ticket, again, $5,000 to sell 500. You do that, you think you'd learned your lesson. Nope, even have a podcast episode on it. And then you do this template shop where you've basically pulled all the things out of your course. And now your course is not selling as well. And you've priced it at half the cost. And you've got this template shop, which people are buying, but not in the massive numbers that you need in order to maintain it. And you don't want to do $5,000 offer anymore, but people are still, coming into your inbox. Hey, Colie, you set this up for so-and-so. Can you do it for me? And so it just feels like you are drowning and like you can't get where you want to be. And the question is, okay, but like, what do you do? And like, for me, it's like, okay, this is my path. 2 fucking years. Let me wait it out for 2 years. And that's basically what I did. And it wasn't until this summer that I was, and part of it is you whispering in my ear, not so subtly. I was like, okay, you know what? This is really not working. So what does it look like if I just turn it all off? And so that's where we're at now. I just turned all the shit off.
Yeah. Yeah. The lower ticket
Yes.
things. Yes. Yes. It's just interesting because it's a classic case of a lot of things that it's bringing up for me. One, classic cannibalization of your own offer. dilution of what someone should buy. Yes, they're going to get the same result to some degree through any offer, right? We talk about that all the time. It's like they're getting the same thing no matter how they come into your world. They're just getting a very condensed version, a DIY version, a done with you version, or you can pay the premium price tag and get me to come in and do it for you. That's great. That's all well and good. What's interesting is I think if we go back to a couple of years ago, before we did the liquidation offer and before we tested ads and before we did that, you were at a pivotal moment. And this is the point that this podcast exists, is that most people know the route you took is available to them, right? They can create a low ticket offer, they can try ads, they can grow their list, they can do bundles and collabs and borrow people's audiences and whatever needs to happen in order to be seen by the masses. And then there's a couple of other options though. There's you can actually expand your team and hire folks to come in and do the service work that you've been the only one providing up until this point. Or you can get that achieved in a couple ways, either your own team or white label it, right? Or productize your thing so much to a degree where you're able to do that thing faster. And maybe it's not as done for you as it used to be, but it's like super darn close. And then you have, of course, people you outsource to. Were those options, did they just not cross your brain then? Or were they just not interesting to you?
I honestly don't think it was either one of those, Emily. I think it was just, I really bought into I can't expand unless I grow my audience. And how
Yes.
else can I grow my
It's such a
audience
loud
fast?
message.
It is so freaking loud. And I mean, I could name some of the gurus
Huh.
that were doing it at that point, and I
Yep.
bought into, the things that they were talking about. And I also love funnels. Like, you weren't wrong I do love the game. I love getting people in my audience and seeing what they buy and looking at their buyer journey and all of the things. And what I told you before I hired you, I was like, well, I'm going to tell you my opinion and then you tell me how you feel about this. I was like, I totally want to do low ticket. I love low ticket, but low ticket can't pay my bills. I can't do low ticket to then pay myself a salary to pay my mortgage. I like the game, but the game is not what I want my business to be based on. I want my business to be based on something that doesn't require me to have these huge ups and downs and these launches and this never ending, what feels like a damn hamster wheel of posting the content and being on Instagram and all of the things. I like doing a webinar and seeing how many people I can get to buy this thing.
Yes.
I love bringing people in and being like, okay, how many of these people are going to finish it? Or how many of these people are going to love me so much they're just like, hey, Colie, do it for me. I love
Yeah.
that. And I love a
Yes.
good Airtable hub to track it all.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, I don't want that to be my whole business. It can't be my
But
whole business.
I picture the data analyst side of what you love, because it's what I love too, to be separate from the audience growth lead generation side. So to me, one is marketing and one is business development. And those are two completely different departments in a traditional business, right? I think we love analyzing business development and what can we optimize in order to perform better instead of how big can it grow.
I love both.
Yeah. Yeah.
I do. I
That's
truly
fair.
do. Because and the reason that I'm going to say this is because back before I had Showit, back when I was a WordPress pro photo girl, just a
Uh-huh.
photographer,
Oh, pro
um,
photo.
yeah, and the thing is, Google fucking ruined this for me, so I don't have my same joy. But 13 years ago, 14 years ago, God, I don't know how long I've been in business. I used to love seeing people land on my website in Google Analytics and literally watch to see the things that they clicked. Like, they landed on this page and then they went to this page. And then by the time they hit the contact, I would be like, okay, let's see how many days it's going to take before they
Yes.
inquire about my services.
We're the same
So,
person in that regard.
exactly. That's what I like. I mean, that's when it's not really marketing, but to me, that is a marketing game. Those people didn't join my
For
email
sure.
list. I'm not watching the emails that they're clicking on and those kinds of things, but I am kind of watching that journey go. And I mean, I would label them. I would label them, oh, this person inquired,
Yes.
all kinds of craziness, Emily,
Nutty.
absolute
I
craziness.
know.
But yeah, I mean, I love looking at all of that kind of data, the
Mhm.
numerical as well as just the things that you can observe and be like, okay, so if I have people that do this, I can predict that there's like a 70% chance that they're going to do this next. Like, I love that.
I love that too. Yeah. It's funny, it's reminding me of, so back in 2019, I was super bored in my business and wanted to mix it up and do something different. And I had always wanted to try a physical product business. But kind of like what you're saying, it couldn't be my whole business. It couldn't be how I paid my bills. It just needed to be for fun and get to experiment and learn some things. And so I had a handmade jewelry business for about 3 years, starting in 2019, and it made stupid good money, because I am me and that's what's going to happen. But I remember specifically, so that was on Shopify because it was a physical product. And so, I loved getting to learn a new platform, and Shopify is phenomenal. If you've got physical products, I'm telling you, that is a platform you need to be on. All of its integrations and plugins and capabilities is truly a game changer. But one of the very cool things is I would do, like, batch launches, and so the shop would be closed, and then on a
I
Sunday,
hate that.
everything was handmade, and so it had to be. And so I would tease stuff throughout the week, and then on Sunday at a certain time, the shop would open, and it would be open until it sold out. And sometimes it sold out in, like, 6 minutes, and sometimes it was 45 minutes, but it was fast. Because again, this didn't need to be my livelihood, so I was making 20 pieces or 40 pieces, and so it wasn't insane. But what I would do is, like, right before everything was live, I would pull up Shopify and you could see, like, the map of the world, and you could see a dot where every single person was waiting on the site. And I could see people, because you could see grayed out items. So you could technically, like, pre-shop, but you just couldn't add it to your cart until it was live. And so I could see which listings people were waiting on. And so my husband and I would, like, predict, like, which one do we think is going to sell out first? And, like, where do we think they're going to land? And that part is a high that, yeah, I can't even explain to you, like, feels so good and is so exciting. And it's one of those things where the lesson learned for me there was I can find that feeling and excitement that's around business and selling and marketing, and it doesn't have to be in my full-time thing.
Mhm.
Like, where do I find it outside of this? That doesn't distract from what I'm doing, because that's the key. But how can we get that itch scratch somewhere else that doesn't completely break down our entire business?
Well, I'm glad that you brought this up because the reason that I said that I hated it is, I'm a Disney adult and
Mhm.
I really don't like Disney ears, the ones that you get from Disneyland, because they're tight. They press my head in the wrong spot. Like, I just don't like them. But there's one person in particular that I love her handmade ears. But it absolutely kills me that she does that open close thing because I
Yeah,
never remember
I
when
know.
it's going to open. And so, I mean, I think I've bought like 4 pairs of ears from her, but if she would just like, if it would be open, I guess, all the time, or she did it in a different way, I would probably have 20 pairs of ears from her by now.
Yeah,
But I don't because
yeah.
I always forget when things are going to open and when they close.
Well, and that's a strategy I could talk about all day long too, because I loved figuring out the game of product business too, and, like, really making it feel culty and VIP and fan clubby. And so there were a couple different things I tried where it was like, okay, well, you could pay a monthly fee to be in the membership. You would get access to pre-order and order whenever you wanted. You also got a discount on live shop orders. And then there was a higher tier upgrade where you could, I mean, it was stupid cheap. Like, it was like $45 a month, and you would get, like, 2 earrings and a discount on drop day and something else. But it was in, like, a beautiful printed branded box and a
Hmm.
bookmark and a sticker and, like, all the things. And so that was just fun. Like, truly, my entire basement was, like, boxes and ovens for the clay and like, little plastic containers and, like, I mean, everything, shipping, all of it was here. And it was exciting. Penelope got into it with me and would, like, box things up for, like, Black Friday deals, and we would, like, stack them up. Like, it was a really fun time. And then all of a sudden one day I woke up and I was like, I don't want to do this anymore.
And so you just tore it all down. That's okay. That's why you and I get along. Cause again, like I don't need for there to be like this big, huge warm up to things. It's like, nope, I'm gonna try this. And you know what? If it doesn't work, I just turn it off and try something else. It's fine.
Exactly. Exactly. So let's talk about kind of the hybrid of where I feel like we're heading with your business now. And we've taken down the low price things. We've gone all in on the core container and everything is leading to this one thing. But where do you see your offer lineup shaking out to be in this next kind of iteration?
I'm excited. Once we get systems, I mean, I feel like systems in session is fully running. The only thing that's
Oh
missing
yeah.
is I want my wait list. Like I want there to be people on there that I can just be like, "Hey, a spot open. Do you want it?" And then it's bought and then it's done. Like that is where I want to get. But in general, like, I did that webinar last month and sold 6 live, 3 later the next day, and I think I sold 12 or 13 by the end of, I think the 72 hours that I had it open. That feels fun to me. That feels good to, grow my list. And so the next part that I'm interested in is kind of the like having the low ticket, but it only being open for 72 hours and making it to where I am actually growing my list and given the opportunity to educate people on why it's
Mhm.
so important and what the urgency is. And hey, if you want this thing, 72 hours, here you go. Like, I would really like to take that next step and see what that ends up looking like
Yeah.
going into 2026.
Well, because I think like the conversation behind the intentionality behind this is as a service provider, when you go from high ticket done for you stuff and you go into more productized container like systems in session, like sold out services, those type of containers that we have, where it's still very high touch. So there are cap on how many
Hmm.
people can be in at one time. That's what you're saying when, well, okay, a spot's open. Same things with sold out services. Okay, we have that. That's great. The capacity is increased. It's a rhythm. We know how many people can get it. We still need to be in front of new people.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, like a referral from a client is phenomenal and we don't take that from granted. Like you've sent people my way. I hope to continue to do that for you. That's going to be one person here, two people here, right? That's not the 5, 6 to 15 that we can have per month, right? So we still have to be considering what is the way that we're going to be getting in front of an audience. We don't need to be growing by the thousands per
No.
month. We don't even need to be growing by the hundreds per month, but maybe 20 or 50. And so webinars is something that you're going to pull the trigger on. You've got your podcast still. What else?
I would like to go back into teaching in people's groups. So it's something that I did a
Yeah.
lot of before 2024. Again, I love to teach. And that's part of what, everybody that I have a conversation with tells me, you make way too much expert content. You teach people all the time, and that's true. And so I want to make sure that I am maximizing what I can do with my natural skill of teaching people, but
Yeah.
also making sure that I am growing my list and selling, almost simultaneously. It doesn't mean that everybody has to buy from me, but the whole purpose of me educating you should be that eventually you get to a point where you see something that I have that is going to help you get the result faster. And, I feel like everybody always wants to have all these different price points because, oh no, you should have something available for everyone. And yeah, I've never really believed that. I just really thought that when people kept asking for the lower ticket offers, that if I did it, it would increase, the number of customers that I was having. But like,
Mhm.
it's fine if my high ticket offers are not for everyone. I'm perfectly happy teaching you on a podcast because you and I were on a
Yep.
group call the other day and someone was like, "Oh no, like I've bought lower ticket things from you, but I also listened to your podcast and did all these things." And two of the people in systems in session also told me before they joined the container, "Oh no, like I listened to your podcast and I did all of these things." And when I went and looked, the things that they did were amazing. But they still got to a point where they were like,
Where
"You
they
know
needed
what?
you.
I know
Yep.
it could be better. How can
Yep.
you help me make this better?" Because
We're
no,
the improver. Like
yes.
we don't need to be brought in for you to do it. Like yes. Yes. I love that and I feel like that is such a happy medium space to be for providers. Like, I also am an educator at heart. I love a webinar. I love a podcast. That's why this is here. And we also over deliver in those containers in a way that I don't regret. Like, I love doing that. I have no problem with it. And I'm not saying that in a negative way at all. Even in a blog post, I'll over deliver because I want you to truly be equipped, because I also know that there is magic in us hopping on a call. And there is magic in us, rewriting and workshopping something together. And you saw that on the coaching call yesterday. You see it in the sync calls that we have. And that you can't get one-on-one from a webinar. You can't
Yes.
get one-on-one custom from a podcast. And so that to me is the magic. And let me have content that's out there, but then I need to get paid equitably in order to be able to serve clients at that high touch and intimate way that I like doing, that I know is impactful.
And I feel like one of the things that you and I agree on, and I feel like too many people worry about this, is I don't worry about gatekeeping. Like
100%.
literally, I can tell you how to do anything in Dubsado. The only thing that I'm not going to do is give you a link to click it and take one of my templates. You have to buy the
Exact
template.
that. Yep.
But if you go on my blog or you listen to my podcast or you watch many of the free trainings that I have, I am literally telling you everything that you need to do.
Yep.
Now, whether or not you have the capacity to do it yourself, or whether or not you get through all of that and you're like, okay, now I'm ready for what's next. Like, I am not someone who is gatekeeping information. And it's funny because one time I'm actually going to interview this student soon for my podcast, but she bought my course a few years ago. And she literally said, the reason that I bought the course was because you told me I could go get 80% of the course off of YouTube. She's like, you said the thing is, I have laid it out in a manner where you are going to be able to do the whole thing in 10 days without trying to Google everything.
Yep.
But what I'm doing is not brain science. Like, you can go find it from other places. I am giving it to you in a very nice package, telling you what to do from step A all the way to, like, whatever the last step is that you need, and giving you the tools, the trainings, and the templates to get it done fast.
Yep.
That is what you are buying from me,
Yes.
your time. It is
Yes.
not that you are buying that I have some like miraculously amazing way for you to build a workflow in Dubsado. Everybody builds the workflows the same. Like,
Yep.
all the buttons are the same.
There's one way to do it.
There's one way to do it. Now, I'm telling you the strategy of getting the best workflow that you can possibly get, but you are not paying me to teach you how to click buttons. That is not what you pay me for.
Yep. It's so funny because to me, it's very clear that we grew up in the online internet space at the same time, because I remember very clearly 2011, 2012, the concept of you give away the kitchen sink, you over deliver, you give value, you don't gatekeep. And there were so many people, courses even that I bought from, where they said you could listen to all of this on YouTube. Or it was on my blog. I don't even think YouTube was super big back then. But it was, go read blog after blog after blog after blog to try to figure out how to do this. Or you can just get it laid out right here, and it's more up to date, or it's refreshed more often, or there's a template that you can follow along with it, or whatever might make your life easier. And to me, that's been the philosophy that I've always had about creating paid content and paywalled content, so to speak, because I yap enough about what it is that I do that it, for those who've been around long enough, can figure it out. And I love that for you.
Like Staples easy buttons. Like,
Exactly.
I am selling you a Colie easy button.
Exactly.
Whether or not you push it and you get a template, or you push it and you get a 20-minute call with me. That is literally what you are buying when you pay me actual money.
Yep.
But the actual what to do, like, just in general, like, go read my blog. Do you have any idea how many blog posts I have? Like, that was the thing. You and I were talking about Showit. So when I originally moved to Showit, they did not believe me. I kept saying, no, I need the advanced. Like, this is how big my blog is. And they kept saying, no, that number has to be incorrect. No, like, I had
pissed me
gigabytes.
off.
I had gigabytes of data. Like,
Yeah.
no, mine was the biggest they had ever seen.
Yes.
And I was like, no, like, they transferred it over, and we did end up doing some cleaning up of it. But like, now my Systems in Session website and blog, I mean, I don't know how many blog posts are on there, but there's got to be at least 100. Like, just on workflows, there's got to be, I don't know, 20. Like, go to my blog, type in workflows, read all of the things. I'm sure you can figure it out.
I'm sure you can figure it out. That's one of the like saddest things I gave up when I left my previous companies, because we had been blogging since 2012. And I was like, I've written 3/4 of those and I want them. But It's fine.
It's fine.
I'm not bitter about it at all. It's fine.
I,
Whatever.
I would be sad to lose my blogs, like for real. And it's funny because as I'm redoing this evergreen sequence, oh, which by the way, since I sent you that ticket, I figured it out. I put a column in
Okay.
Airtable and
I'll change it to answered.
I was like, this is what, like, can I use it as is? Do I need to refresh the resources? Do I need to remove links that are no longer valid? Like, I came up with a system. But part of this is, okay, a lot of these emails were written like 2 years ago. Like, how many new blog posts and podcast episodes do I have that actually explain the things in that email better?
Yeah.
So everything needs a refresh. Everything needs a refresh.
Thing needs a refresh. That's what happens when you've been in business for as long as we have, pushing out as much content as we have.
Yeah, I've got
Yeah.
3 years under the systems, umbrella as of now. Actually, yeah, it's 3 years. Because it was really for the longest, I was still selling Dubsado off of my
Right.
photography website, and that's
Oh,
actually why I can't turn that website off. It still gives me more referrals than anything else. Like, there's one
I'm
page on that
sure.
website. So, I can't turn it off.
Well, and I'm sure too because of the, like, how coded in photography it is, and then Dubsado, like that, yeah, it's pulling a shit ton of weight for you, I'm
Yeah.
sure.
I mean,
That's
but the
crazy.
new one, 3 years, I have all of these blogs. The podcast episodes also go on there.
Right.
And while not every podcast episode is about systems, a good number of them
Yeah.
are,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, it's all related. It's all related. Well, in the scheme of sell the damn service, if you were to, talk to a service provider right now who is in that pivotal moment of, girl, I'm at capacity and I can't just keep raising my rate, but I can't keep serving at this level or I'm going to lose my mind. Of all the lessons you've learned, of what you've done and what you would do again, what would you say to that person?
I think the bottom line, what's made me happy to be in my business right now versus last year or the year before, is figuring out what part of the service actually makes me happy. And so, what I came to is yes, I'm charging $5,000 for me to do it for you, but I don't actually like doing it for you. And that was really hard for me to internalize. It was really hard for me to say out loud because, like, why look a gift horse in the mouth? In the mouth. If someone is willing to pay you 5K, take the 5K, shut up and do the work. Like,
Mm.
I am from that era. Like, you
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
you don't
yeah.
turn down 5K. But also, I finally realized what I like. And what I like is to educate people. What I like is to tell people what to do. And when you have done it, I will tell you what you did wrong. I will tell you how to improve it. Basically, I just want to be the brain. I want you to come to me. I want to tell you all the things, but I don't want to be the accountability person responsible for actually getting it done. You need to do that because for what I do, it helps you learn your client experience so much better and the systems that run it so that when you need to make minor tweaks, you don't have to call me every single time. You know what we set up and why we set it up that way and how you can make the minor changes yourself. But hey, when you've got a new offer, when you want to change things in a big way, come back to me. We'll workshop it. I'll give you a new list of tasks for you to do, and then you can go do it. But when I was finally able to like admit that out loud and figure out where I wanted to go, and I mean, it's taken me almost a year to get systems in session going. I first mentioned it on a podcast almost a year ago.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
I said what I wanted it to do, and it took me 6 months to get the first 2 beta people in because I was just so busy and I was so worried that, okay, if I don't do this, like, are people going to do it? And I mean, I tell you this all the time. This week in particular, I am really loving my job and everything that I do. So I'm really looking forward to like going all in,
Yeah.
eventually raising the prices, and
Yeah.
then like expanding my capacity for what I can do. But this would not have been possible if I couldn't just admit to myself, yeah, I'm really good at that. But do I really wanna do that for another 5 years? Like, do I really at the end of the day, like, it's good money, it pays my mortgage, as I say often, but that's not what I wanna do anymore, and I don't have the capacity for it, so what else can I do? And just not being afraid to make those kinds of changes, because even when I, like, decided to do systems in session, I was like, "Oh, the price tag," which I charge premium prices, I have no problem doing that, but I feel like every time I start over, I'm like,
Mhm.
And my rule is, I never want to lower a price. So I always start lower than I should
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
like immediately jack it up.
Yep.
Because you and I had a conversation, and I feel like you are constantly telling people to raise their prices and you get pushback. And when you said it, I was like, oh no, I already said I was going to do it in September. But you know what? By the end of the day, it will be raised.
Boop
It will
bop.
be done. And then
Yep.
what? 5 minutes later, Emily, they
It's
are
done.
raised. They are raised everywhere. They are raised.
Yeah. I love that, and I love I think the root of the purpose of a lot of these conversations is you don't have to be married to one version of your business forever. And part of just doing the business is letting it evolve and letting it support you in the way that feels aligned right now.
I will also say a lot of business owners don't experiment. And I was
Agreed.
actually talking to one of my students or one of my clients in systems in session. She is actually someone who bought my course 4 years ago, and now her business has grown. She's making more money. She wants to make changes. But one of the conversations that we had today was last year, she changed her pricing model and raised her prices, and she realized that didn't work for her. So she came back to her old model, but with increased pricing, and now she's super happy. So
Love
I
that.
feel like a lot of people get stuck in what they do and they're too afraid to like change it and quote unquote fail. The only failure is if you don't like something and you don't do anything about it. That's
100%.
literally the only time that you failed in business. So if there's something that you want to experiment with, do it. It
Do it.
doesn't mean that you have to burn down your existing business in order to do it. Experiment, figure out if it's going to work. If it is, go all in. If it's not, go back to
Try
what you were
something
doing
different.
before and try something else.
Exactly. I tell myself nearly every single day when I'm posting something on Instagram or Threads or having a conversation or trying something new, like quite literally, like no one cares about me that much that they're going to notice anything that I'm doing, that I'm changing. Cause that's the pushback I get with a lot of my clients is like people will think I'm flaky or they'll know that I was offering this and they did that. And it's literally like, I love you so much. And they're not keeping tabs on you like that. They don't care what you're doing. They literally don't care. And so if we can come out confidently and this is what like I have always been the person no matter what I'm selling, earrings, services, digital products, quite literally doesn't matter. In my heart of hearts, in the deepest depths of my soul, I believe this is the best work I've ever done. And I believe that about everything I put out. And yeah, the work I did a year ago isn't the work that as good as the work I'm doing today because I'm today is the best work that I'm putting out. And that's just how it works. Like we learn and we grow and we get better at our job and our skill and our strategy and all of the things. And there could be elements of how I've done work previously that I enjoyed better. And so maybe I need to bring that in, but it if I'm talking about something new tomorrow because y'all need it, it's because it's the greatest thing I've put out and it's for a reason. And part of us have to learn to trust the experts that we're investing in. That's a whole other conversation of like how to vet those people, that side tangent.
Mhm.
But also trust experts who do have the case studies and have the receipts and who have the history and who can have a conversation with you about the result that you're after. And we don't need to micromanage that.
Yeah, because you told me 3 things, and again, I told you well, in my head, I told you were fucking crazy, and
Huh?
we've already done 2 of the 3. And the
Yep.
3rd one, I mean, I don't think I'm gonna last until January with the 3rd one, so we'll see.
So we'll see.
But, I mean, I do value, taking the advice of the people that I pay because what's the use in paying me if you're not gonna fucking listen to me? So,
Truly.
I also think that's why I really enjoy Systems in Session because they're the ones that are going in and actually doing the work, and it's not gonna happen where it's done for you and I go do it, and then you're like, "Oh, no, like, that doesn't
Right.
fit." No, you did it. So you
Yeah,
know what? If you don't like it, go change it.
exactly. And
Versus when I was doing it. So
and that's the thing I was gonna say earlier. I lost that train of thought. I'm doing the same thing. So I'll do a couple of custom projects behind the scenes, typically around like systems, Airtable sometimes where I'm building something out like lead management for an agency. Like it's very, very different use case. But I will make it and I will build the bones of it. And then I record these micro videos and I hop on with their team and I'm like, here's how you do this. Now you screen share and show me how you do it because I don't need you messaging me in 6 months because you haven't used it because you don't know how to update it, because you don't input a lead, because it didn't work for the way that you needed to see it. Everything is customizable. So you just got to tell me, and you've got to like engage with me in this process so that we can make it something that you're going to actually use. I said it this way the other day. That is something that's really stuck with me throughout. This was like a year ago I started using this phrase, but specifically for those type of consulting projects, my goal is to change the way you think about pricing, systems, lead gen, whatever the thing is that you're hiring me for. My goal isn't to come in and just do it and set it up for you. My goal is to change the way that you think about it. Therefore, you will change how you interact.
I've never thought about it in that way, but
That's
I
what
do
you're
feel
doing.
like that's my new spin. Like everything that I keep saying is, no, it's your client experience. No, it's your client experience. And I feel like I feel like I'm having better success now than I ever have before, because before I was selling them a system. Like, this is my system. This is how we take it and adapt it for you. And this is how it works for you. But now it's like, no, like, let's look at your business. Let's build a client experience
Yes.
that works for you. And then the parts that we can put into Dubsado Honeybook for you is what we're going to do. I didn't realize that, but that is
That's
definitely
what
what
you're
is
doing.
happening inside of Systems in Session, because now that they're thinking about it as their entire client experience, I mean, they get even more excited. They're like, oh my gosh, I've never really thought about doing this. And if you tell me that you want to text your client, great.
Let's
You can
bring that
continue to
in.
text them. Let's make a to-do task for you
Yes.
inside of your workflow that sends you a
Yes.
reminder to do it. Let's make sure that inside of that little reminder that it emails you, that it's got the client's name, when their
And the
session is.
number.
Yeah, and the number and whatever else you need, so that you then don't have to go into Dubsado to do it. It is all about figuring out how you want to interact with your clients.
Yes.
And let's make sure that we're doing it in the best way possible for you and them.
Yep. Well, look at us.
Work's done.
Okay, tell everyone where they can continue to hang out with you, listen to your show, hire you, learn from you, all that good stuff.
All right. So main website is coliejames.com. You can DM me on Instagram, but I don't really post on Instagram. So if you go and you're like, Colie, you don't have any content, yeah, come over to Threads. Threads is where I
Threads
share
is
my
where it's
hot
at.
takes. And then the name of my podcast is Business First Creatives. And I bring on a slathering of experts to talk about all the things related to building a business that brings you joy and a paycheck. And then the solo episodes are what people really love, because I will get on there and just rant and really tell you like it is. And so that's where you should come find me.
Yeah. If you like this show, you will love that show, because
That
that
part.
is the same setup here. And Colie's going to have me on. I'm inviting myself on. She's going to have me on. So look for me on her show soon.
It won't be that long. No.
Well, thank you so much for hanging out today. I loved this conversation. I love all of our conversations. And I love that you got a little nugget of clarity there at the end.
There you go. Thank you so much, Emily.
Thank you so much for listening to Sell the Damn Service. If you loved what you heard today, do me a quick favor. Hit subscribe, leave a rating, and drop a review. It seriously helps more service providers find the show, and it keeps me yapping into this mic every week. It's a nice, free, easy lift way for you to support the show. And hey, if you've got a friend who needs to hear this, please send this episode their way. The more people selling their damn services with confidence, the better this whole industry gets. See you next time.